What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Over Analysis channel. Today we're going to be talking about the New England Patriots and their fantasy relevant players that we are targeting and fading in our drafts this summer. And when you talk about the New England Patriots, you've got to start with quarterback Drake May. May was the QB2 in fantasy last year in a breakout sophomore campaign, and he just checks all the boxes of what you want in a fantasy quarterback. He's prolific as a passer, he adds a lot as a rusher. He's got a lot of ways that he can produce fantasy points. And last year he did it with a bunch of mediocre guys. He was throwing to the likes of Demario Douglas, Kayshon Boutte, Hunter Henry as his primary options. This year, in May's third year, they went out and they added A.J. Brown to be his primary wide receiver, which is only going to increase May's ceiling. But the problem this year with Drake May is, whereas last year he was such a value in drafts. I mean, you could get May with a mid to late round pick. And you didn't even necessarily have to draft him as a QB1. This year you've got to pay up for May. The secret's out. Everybody saw the breakout last year. Now he's a top 5 quarterback. So if you're paying up for Drake May, you've probably got to use around a 4th round pick to get him. And again, like in these early rounds of the draft, you're building your team. You're really trying to get hits at the running back and wide receiver position. It's harder to find breakout running backs and wide receivers later in the draft than it is to find a breakout quarterback like what May was last season. So as much as we love Drake May, for myself, I still tend to lean towards fading him at his ADP, and I'll be looking for this year's late round value at the quarterback position. At the running back position, the Patriots have 2 fantasy relevant guys. We've got Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson. And with Henderson, last year was very frustrating for owners. Henderson got a little expensive during draft season, and anyone that drafted him at cost was disappointed when the Patriots barely played him through the first half of the season. And then it wasn't until more than halfway through the year that Henderson finally got a little bigger share of the workload and had some breakout games. But the problem with Travion Henderson is he really struggled in pass protection. And for all these running backs, I mean, if they can't block in the pass game, then they're not going to be on the field. Because it's too critical for these teams to have a running back out there that their quarterback can trust in pass protection. It doesn't matter how explosive Travion Henderson is. If he can't protect, then he's not going to be on the field. And whether he's improved in his pass blocking in the offseason remains to be seen. But currently, much like last season, Travion Henderson is overpriced in drafts. He's going in the 5th round. A lot of people are expecting him to take over the backfield this year, and maybe he will. But right now, at his current cost, I can't buy into him. I've got to see that he can hold up in pass protection. I've got to see that the team trusts him to be out there. Until they do, Travion's a fade for me. For Ramondre Stevenson comes with an 8th round ADP at the moment. Last year he finished just on the outside of the RB2 ranks. He was RB25. Ramondre is interesting because he's someone that clearly the coaching staff does trust. And it's not like Ramondre is talentless. It's a guy that's turned in good seasons in the past. I think he's been a victim of some of the circumstances that have gone on with the Patriots in the last few years. I mean, Ramondre was the featured back on some really awful Patriot teams before Drake May. And Ramondre is somebody that can do a little bit of everything. He can be productive on the ground. He's not a nothing in the receiving game either. Ramondre is going to be the primary back until Travion Henderson can hold up in pass protection and take the job from him. So Ramondre might feel uninspiring in the 8th round, but you could also do a lot worse. At least with Ramondre, you're getting some kind of floor there. He's a guy that you could put in your starting lineup and expect 10 to 12 points on a given week. A wide receiver, I absolutely love the A.J. Brown addition. A.J. Brown is a major target for me this year in fantasy. And with A.J. Brown, you've got to remember, he really hasn't been maximized throughout his career. He's played with some mediocre quarterbacks. We had Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee, Jalen Hurts in a low passing volume offense that routinely missed Brown at times when he was wide open last year. Now A.J. Brown is playing with Drake May, probably the best quarterback he's going to play with in his career. And I think A.J. has just the potential to absolutely go off this year. I think a 100 catch, double-digit touchdown season is well within his range of outcomes, and I absolutely love spending a second-round pick on him in drafts. The rest of the New England wide receivers are not targets for me. Romeo Doubs is probably better than any wide receiver the Patriots had last year, but with A.J. Brown around, he has a very capped ceiling. Same for Kyle Williams. Kyle Williams is actually someone that, before A.J. Brown, I liked as a potential second-year breakout, but now given that he's at best the wide receiver 3, there's just not enough volume to go around for him to have a breakout this year. At the tight end position, I'm not very interested in Hunter Henry. I think there are better options in the range that he goes in. Again, you could go Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, Achika Okonkwo, and A.J. Barner. All of these guys, I think, carry a lot more upside than Henry. Eli Raridan is a good dart throw for your rookie drafts and Dynasty, but otherwise, I don't see much reason to target the tight end position in New England. That's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my takes in the comments below, and we will talk to you in the next episode where we go over the New York Jets.